Hey everybody, I wanted to make this second video to really help you navigate the performance assessment for this week. So the NewsELA article race paragraph. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. It even says go to NewsELA and you can click right here to find the article and writing prompt. So if you click here, it'll actually take you to a sign-in page first off, but obviously I already have an account and I keep mine where I'm like logged in at all times. So it just takes me to the article, but it should take you to the article after you log in. If it doesn't, let me know. But also, this is the article that I want you guys to read. But yeah, let me know if it doesn't take you to the article. But once you get to the login page, please sign in or sign up with Google. You've already been added into my classes or into your teacher's classes. And so you should be like not need a code or anything. You're already in there. You just need to make sure you sign up or sign in so that you can get into the account. So anyway, this is the article. It's kind of a precursor to what we're going to end up doing next, so you can kind of infer or make some inferences about what we're going to be doing. But it's called CSI Investigating a Crime Scene. There's a couple of options in here that I wanted you guys to be aware of that are super helpful for you guys. The first option for reading that's really helpful is this read aloud. If you put your headphones in, this article will be read to you. So make sure that you guys go ahead and do that if you want. If you don't, that is totally fine as well. But then you're gonna listen to the article or read the article. And when you are listening, if I'm being honest, if you're listening, I really do want you to be reading the article. This will help you. So not only will you be reading through and following along, or I should see you reading through and following along, but you'll be hearing it as well. So that'll actually help you in those two ways. The other thing that I wanted you guys to be aware of would be this activities bar right here. This is where when you have activities that we're assigning with an article that you would go and look. And today, I will say this, today when you guys are doing, or whenever you're doing this, when you need to do this article, the writing prompt is what we're grading. This is the performance assessment, but you also might see other activities in there because this article includes them. So for example, there's a quiz and you might want to take the quiz to make sure you were able to understand the article before you do the writing. It's up to you, but the writing prompt is really what we're looking for, and it will give you an option to click on it and then write. And the prompt today, so your writing prompt, whenever you see prompt, means that we're asking you to write something. It's your question, or we're prompting you to do this or think about this. So, would you consider a career in this field? Make sure to write incomplete sentences and use the RACE model. Remember to restate and answer the question and cite text evidence from this article. So now that we've learned all of the RACE, or most of the RACE model, I want you to actually go through and write a paragraph answering this question: would you consider a career in this field? And then when you're done with that, then you're going to turn that in and I'll be able to read that and grade that. The next thing that you need to know about how to be successful, on this writing prompt would be to look at the rubric. Now the rubric is not included in the playlist because I added it in later thinking, oh, actually that would be really beneficial for you guys to have this. So the playlist is in week 5, and it actually says, because the article, this is what it's called, the assignment is news article race paragraph. It's news article race paragraph rubric. So you click on this on classroom, and it takes you to your rubric. Now, like you know from week 4, rubrics help you know exactly how you're going to be graded, what we're going to expect from you. And so I'm just going to go through this with you really quickly, but whenever you see anything there's a rubric added, whether I go over it with you guys or not, or your teacher goes over it with it or not, you need to check it out. You should check it out possibly before you even read or write or do whatever it is we're asking you to do. Because when you're done, then you will have, or as you're going through it, you will know exactly what your focus is supposed to be and what you're going to be graded on when you're done with the assignment. So anyway, here's the rubric, starting at the beginning. Here's the rubric for how to write a perfect race paragraph. Use the rubric to grade yourself and make sure that in each area you have performed at you have mastered this skill level, which is this column right here. It is important to note that if you do not write incomplete sentences, you will automatically get a 1 for that sentence or those sentences. Make sure to write incomplete sentences. So again, I'm telling you right now, it's very clear. What are you supposed to write in for this paragraph? Complete sentences. Okay, so you are going to be graded in these areas, in these 5 areas. You are going to be graded on restate, answer, and cite, because we just learned a lot about cite. Has 3 specific things that we're looking for. That you can introduce your evidence, that you use correct formatting, which also goes right into complete sentences as well, and that your quote or paraphrase is added and is relevant. So for restate and answer, I'm just going to go through the 3rd column. You can look through column 2 and column 1, but column 3 is really where we want you guys at. So for restate, to get a 3 out of 3 in restate, the question is clearly restated or reworded in the response, and the reader knows what to expect. So basically for that, you have restated and answered the question following all of the guidelines that we've set forth for you. So like no yes or no questions, that everything is restated and reworded correctly. Answer. The question is answered fully and correctly, showing that the writer knows what is being asked. And then I will point out in number 2, for this column, I did add this in number 2, and I can add this in number 3 as well, but if you do it correctly, you do not use yes or no. For the column number 2, where you're almost there, you could have used yes or no, and you'll get 2 out of 3 points. But do not use yes or no, or you'll automatically lose that point. For cite or introducing evidence, your number 3 or column, or you've mastered this skill, is your evidence is introduced correctly, and the reader knows exactly where they got the information. So basically with this, the reader knows exactly where the writer got the information. I also did put down here an example to kind of show you guys, and I'll get to that in a second. But in the example, it says, according to the New York Times, the author now knows where they got this information from. You can add the author, you can add the title, you can add both if you need to, or if you want to in the sentence. But a number 3 in this area with introducing the evidence means that the evidence is introduced correctly, but that also the reader knows, like that's the main point, is the reader knows where you got your information. So if they wanted to go and do further research, they could also go and do that and look at the same information that you did. Citing and using correct formatting, the number 3 is basically that you Cite that your citing of text evidence is formatted correctly and everything looks similar to the example below. So you've included where you got the information from. If you need a comma, if you like introduce something like the author said, then you don't necessarily need a comma. But according to the New York Times, and then you need to make sure you have quotation marks. You need to actually add the quote in like correctly, and you need to make sure that you have capital letter at the beginning, ending punctuation. That's what I mean by correct formatting. Cite or the quote, or citing, and that's dealing with the quote or paraphrase would be, oh, and that's another good thing. If you do not draw a direct quote, which honestly, I really would try to find a direct quote. It just is much more like relevant. But if you paraphrase, or if you just kind of like say, according to Smith, all dogs are bad, or something, because that's like something that you would have gotten out of that article, then you don't necessarily need quotation marks, but you definitely need to know or need to tell me exactly where you got that information so I can go back and look at that. So anyway, for citing the quote or paraphrase, number 3 is the explanation of what the evidence means is complete. It is written in a way that the reader can understand the writer's line of thinking. So when you put that in the or put the quote in or the paraphrase in, the evidence must be to the point where the reader, without an explanation, can see why you're putting that piece of information in for your answer. So again, your evidence has to support your answer. And so if the reader cannot tell that, or it does not seem like it supports your answer, then you need to find a different piece of evidence. This total assignment is worth 15 points, which at this point is a decent chunk of points that will go in the grade book, because we've only had 2 other things. Yeah, 2 other things that we put in the grade book. And so this will go in as almost like a third of your grade right now, which is not bad because we'll keep adding to it. But that's why I'm giving you, or that's why we're giving you this rubric, because if you need to know how to get a 15 out of 15, maybe to raise your grade or to keep your grade high, then this is exactly how you do it. If you have any questions about this, please do not hesitate to ask me or one of your teachers, and they will help you out.